Hi everyone, my name is Giovanna Proença, and today we will be building a piano using HTML and CSS from freeCodeCamp, the part of responsive web design. So this will be how it will look like. In the end, we're gonna build this piano here. It won't work, all right, the part of sound and those things, but we're gonna build this part of creating, using the CSS to build something pretty similar, all right? I highly recommend you watching and doing this project once you finish the previous one, because basically in freeCodeCamp, every project we need the knowledge that we got from the previous projects, okay? So let's start. So here they're telling us to start creating our HTML file. So if you don't remember, we have to start adding here the doc type, because this doc type will tell our browser. And what is browser? It will tell Google Chrome, Microsoft Edge, Mozilla, and those things. What is the file that we're using to build our page? And in here, then we need the HTML tag, and we can set the language of our HTML tag to English. So we're telling that our file will be in English. Okay, and we need the head tag. So the head is everything that is not visual in our code, and the body is everything that is visual. So in the head, we're gonna make the links to our CSS file, to something else that we want to link, and also giving the title of the tab. Okay, so here we use the title tag, and I want to call here piano. All right, then they're telling us to create the body as well, and everything we want to display in our page, we're going to use the body, but we're going to do this in a bit. All right, so everything good. Let's go to the next part. Now we're gonna add two meta tags. One of the meta tags is this one here that you can get from W3 Schools, where we're gonna set our page to be responsive, okay? So we're gonna add this tag, and if you see, it's inside of our head. And we also need this tag here for the char set UTF-8. So here we specify the character encoding for the HTML document. So we need these both meta tags. Okay, now we're gonna start building the part that will be visual. So first, they're telling us to create a div that will be our main div, that we're gonna give the ID equals to piano. So this div here we're gonna create. I'm gonna show in the project in the end. This div we're gonna build what is in green, this image, and the keyboard. All right, so this will be our piano div. Now we're gonna create inside this piano div, we're gonna create a div for class keys. So now we're gonna build this div in here where we have the keys in white. All right, so here div class equals to keys, but keys will be everything. We're gonna create each individual key of our keyboard in the next step, okay? Great. And like I mentioned, we're going to do this right now. So first, they're telling us to add 7 divs. So 7 divs, one for each part here that we're seeing. Okay, so let's add here inside of the keys div, we're going to add 7 divs where we're going to give the class key. All right, so you can add, and I'm going to copy and paste more 6 times. That's it. Right now, we won't be able to see anything because we're creating divs, and divs are separation. Let me see here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's missing one more. Divs are only sessions. We're not gonna see here any text, but once we're starting to work with this style, we're gonna see the colors changing, the width and the height. Okay? Now they're telling us to add one extra class for some particular keys, this black dash key, because we want to build this part in here that it's this black key. Okay? So we're gonna add in some particular cases. So in this case, they're telling us to add this black key in our second. So here, black key. Oops, I miswrote. Here, they want us to add this black key in this first, in the second, in the third, in the fifth, sixth, and 7th. Great, they're telling us to do this. Like I said, we won't be able to see anything, but in a second, once we're styling things, we're gonna start seeing. Now they're telling us to copy the 7 divs that we built, and we're gonna paste twice because we wanna have multiple keys depending on the size of the screen. Okay, now we're gonna go back to our head, and we're gonna link with our styles.css, because basically everything we needed for the HTML is already done. We're gonna add the image in the future, but the main core for the piano is already here. So to link our HTML with our styles, we need to use this link. The relationship will be a style sheet, and the href will tell which file we want to link in here. And in our case, we're going to use this /styles.css. That is the name of the file that we're going to work, if you see in here in the top. All right. Now let's start working a little bit with our styles. All right. So first, we're going to use the HTML tag, and we're going to change the size of the page. We can barely see the difference, but here we're going to use this box sizing. and we want to set to border box. So we're creating kind of a box in our page, okay? Then they're telling us to use these pseudo selectors that we're going to use the before and after. The before and after, they means they are pseudo selectors for things that, for elements that appears before in a specific class that we want to work, and the after is we use it for adding some styling for elements that are after this specific class. Right now, we're not going to use any specific class. They're just telling us to use in here. We want to use the star to select everything. Every time we have before, we want to set the same style, and every time we have the after, we want to set the same styling. That is the border sizing border box. So instead of repeating every time border box, we're just going to say box sizing, and we're going to say here inherit, because we want to inherit from our HTML. Okay, now we're going to start creating our piano. So now we're going to start creating this div here in green. So what are we going to do? We're going to use the hash piano because we give an ID for this div, and we're going to set the background color to hash 00471B, and this color will be green. If you don't remember, we did some projects before where we were working with hexadecimal colors, HSL, and other ones, so I highly recommend you going back for these projects. And so far we're not seeing any color because we have to set what is the width and the height that we want for this div. So here the width will be 992 pixels, and the height will be 290 pixels. And now we'll see the div in here. All right, so we have this huge div. Great. Now let's go to the next one. We're gonna set some margin for this piano, okay? Because we wanna create some spacing in the top, so we're gonna add this margin 80 pixels for the vertical alignment, and auto for the horizontal alignment, okay? So now we're just adding some margin in the top and in the bottom, not in the left and in the right. Great. Now we're gonna start working with our keys. So we're gonna work with the div where we contain all the keys we're gonna work. So here, keys, and we're gonna change the background color. So we're gonna put a background color of I think it's white, but here they're using 040404. Actually, it's black in here. The width, they want 494 pixels, and the height, they want 180 pixels. I know it's not responsive, but in the future we're gonna work to making it responsive. All right, so this is what we have so far. This is our keys div. And now we're gonna add some padding for these keys. So padding left 2 pixels. So if we take a look in here, padding left, it's not changing much, right? But we have this in here. Great. And now we're gonna add a padding property for the piano. So let's see what happens. Basically, what do we want? We want to make a space, right? The div in black is this one that it's behind the div in white, the keys. So we want to create some spacing in here and in all of the directions. So to do this, we're gonna add padding 90 pixels, 20 pixels, 0 and 20 pixels. So if we take a